As one of the most prominent and renowned European banking family dynasties, the Rothschild wealth and influence were so great that it affected economic and sometimes political outcomes. A notable example was in the 1870s, when the family loaned a huge sum of money to the French government for the payment of the war indemnities and the British government loan that allowed it to become a top shareholder in the Suez Canal Company. Despite the wealth of the family, history and even the present have not exactly been kind to them, as their influence and wealth have been made them subject to several conspiracy theories. From claims that the family is a controller of several global financial institutions to claims that it also controls the weather, the facts have been submerged deep into the minds of people. A particularly worrying conspiracy theory of the family, that is its antisemitic roots, are now being used to promote hate in different forms, dangerously threatening the legacy and long-standing history of, perhaps, one of the most historical family dynasties. To properly understand the position and influence of the family, keep watching as we delve into the actual facts of the Rothschild family versus the conspiracy theories threatening its legacy. We at Business Chronicles tell extraordinary business stories. Please subscribe to our channel to help us make more videos. The Rothschild family is regarded by many as arguably the most famous banking dynasty from Europe in modern history. The family's rise to fame can be tracked back into the 18th century, when the family's patriarch, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, founded and started the first banking house in the widely known German town of Frankfurt. As the business grew, his sons took over and expanded it into a multinational operation across different countries, like London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples. As time went on, the family later shifted some of its operation to government securities and industrial companies like coal, railway, oil, ironworking, and metallurgical investments. As the Rothschild family's influence increased, they received several honors. Mayer's 5 sons were later made barons in the Austrian Empire. A Rothschild also became the first ever Jew to become a member of the British Parliament, while another Rothschild also became the first to reach the rank of British peerage. The British and French families, who were at the time the only ones still engaged in banking activities after the Nazis seized the Austrian house, eventually distinguished themselves as philanthropists and scientists. With the newly found wealth from the family's business expansion, the Rothschild family were soon able to influence the economy of nations. However, as their wealth accumulation grew larger, they were met with extremely unpleasant reaction from the people in the form of anti-Semitism. As a Jewish family, the targets by conspiracy theorists increased, citing that the family used its money to control financial institutions around the world. While these claims have been widely condemned and eventually proven to be false, they still continue to persist and even rival the truth. So it begs to question, where did the anti-Semitism attack on the Rothschild family begin from? How did it resurface in the 21st century? And most importantly, what is a conspiracy theory? And why does it matter against the facts of the Rothschild family? Conspiracy theories are wrong and false narratives that break down highly complex processes and events by reducing them to plots propagated by rich and powerful people. They usually claim that either the world is at large is controlled by an influential and secretive group, or a distinct event in history was orchestrated by the same group. The deal with conspiracy theories is that, because they often allege secretive and illicit plots are used to seize power, they are by nature difficult to disprove. The theories often appear attractive to people because they mostly seem to make little sense of the world, like buying confusion and thrive in times where there's uncertainty and events where people have little or no say to understand how it impacts their lives. These events could be wars, rapid social changes, economic crashes, or even revolutions. Now, because these events appeal to the human psychological need for stability and security, their simple explanations seem to give human control of events, a notion that is comforting in a frightening world. As funny or unpleasant as it might be to circulate conspiracy theories, it actually does more harm than good. It affects those whom the claims are made about, the people who believe these claims, and then the society at large. The Rothschild family conspiracy theory is one of the oldest and most persistent in the world. Spun out from deep-lying contempt, disapproval, and hateful stereotypes towards Jews. It dates back over 150 years and spreads lies about the most prominent personalities of the Rothschild family, who they claim as a mythical symbol of Jewish power malevolently arranging and responsible for some world catastrophes and events. In 2015, a popular British paper, The Independent, made an investigation publication on the anti-Semitism claim levied against the Rothschild family. Brian Cathcart, a journalism professor, traced the first ever widespread conspiracy theory of the Rothschild family to a political pamphlet released in the European printing presses in 1846. The pamphlet called Histoire édifiante et creusée de Rothschild le roi de Russe, which translates to Edifying and Curious Story of Rothschild, I, King of Jews, was written by George Dineville with the pseudonym Satan. The pamphlet explains the story and history of the Rothschild family and how it rose to its influential position in Europe. According to Brian Cathcart, on June 18, 1815, Nathan Rothschild's involvement in the Waterloo battle was the most famous passage detail of the pamphlet. Immediately after the battle ended, the pamphlet stated that Rothschild was hurriedly taken into the coast of Belgium, where he paid a large fortune to cross into the English Channel during a thunderstorm. 24 hours after his arrival in London, it was officially announced that Napoleon had been defeated, with Satan claiming that, as a result, Nathan Rothschild eventually profited a whopping 20 million francs, while the other Rothschild brothers seconded him, with the total profit made from the fatal battle that year amounting to 135 million francs. While the theory soon became widespread all around Europe, it was false and dangerous, as Brian Cathcart's research later found out for a fact. On a set date, June 18, 1805, Nathan Rothschild was never at Waterloo, nor was he anywhere near the location. Additionally, his research also proved that there were no reports of a thunderstorm over the English Channel at the time, actually in contrast to what the conspiracy theory claimed. He further revealed that while the Rothschild family did make a huge amount of profit from the war effort against Napoleon, they didn't make millions by announcing the Allied victory at Waterloo, as the pamphlet stated. Brian Cathcart concluded that the fact that the conspiracy theories were believed with ease shows the pernicious effect of anti-Semitism in the European history. While speaking to Time magazine, the author in The Jewish Space Lasers, The Rothschild in 200 Years of Conspiracy Theories, Mike Rothschild, who has no relation to the Rothschild banking family, explained how the Rothschild family became a target of conspiracy theorists and the turning point that followed. He stated that while the pamphlet claimed that Nathan Rothschild, the son of Mayor Amschel Rothschild, knew about the Battle of Waterloo outcome before it happened. However, according to him, the fact was that this pamphlet came out 30 years after the battle, and Nathan had already died for 10 years at this point. The other conspiracy theory in the pamphlet was that Nathan's brother, who was based in Paris' banking house, James, owned a railroad that he abandoned and never maintained, and so there was an accident on the railroad, which resulted in the death of some people. So based on the allegations, Mike Rothschild, the author, concluded that all the incidents gave people a different idea. He said, "So you have this idea that the Rothschilds are greedy, they are manipulators, but they're also cheap, and they don't care about the lives of ordinary men." The pamphlet spreading the first wave of conspiracy theories against the Rothschild family was a huge hit in Paris, France. After its release, it went on to sell several thousands of copies. As a result, there became a large industry of Rothschild conspiracy theories, as people created some on the spot. In contrast, others utilized several expressions like Jews being greedy, Jews being cheap, Jews being clannish, and Jews keeping their money to themselves. These tropes, used by the people, were the first instances of a specific anti-Semitic, anti-Rothschild conspiracy theory that became a significant driver of commerce, especially going viral, to use in our current parlance. In the years that followed and all throughout the 20th century, the Rothschild family were seen in several anti-Semitic propaganda and regarded as the king of Jews. Despite the talk of how the Rothschild family controlled the economy, there wasn't actually any conspiracy. In the Middle Ages in Europe, there were several prohibitions on what the Jews could do and what the Christians could do in relation to money. The Christians considered it a moral sin to lend money at a very high interest rate. It was an offense level with incest and murder. Regardless, the Christians needed money to develop and build new churches and equip members of their army. As a result, they went to the Jews who already had access to wealth from developing their reputation for being good with money and learning arithmetic from an early age. So the Rothschilds were just like every other Jewish family who had a keen interest in financial management. After the release of Darnville's pamphlet, several highly reputable institutes fell for the deceit of its words. One such institution was the Encyclopedia Britannica, the volume XX3 Eyes of its 11th edition released in 1910-1911. The entry on the Rothschild family stated, "He is said to have been present at the Battle of Waterloo and being able to transmit to London private information of the Allied success several hours before it reached the public. He effected an immense profit by the purchase of stock and had been depressed on the news of Bluscher's defeat 2 days previously." As a result of this chronicle from the Encyclopedia Britannica, its 11th edition became an instrument that aided the spread of Rothschild conspiracy theories. On the other hand, Brian Cathcart's expose and criticism against the anti-Semitic behavior towards the Rothschild family helped mitigate the damage. But it wasn't alone. At the end of the World War II, some Western media and academia made huge efforts to educate people on the dangers of anti-Semitism and how it often perpetuated, but much work remains to be done. In March 2018, the Washington Post made a report that a Washington, D.C. lawmaker, Trajan White Sr., made a statement on Facebook that the Rothschild family controlled the climate to create natural disasters they can pay for to own the cities. He further stated, "Man, it just started snowing out of nowhere this morning. Y'all better pay attention to this climate change, man. This climate manipulation. We are a resilient city that's a model based off the Rothschild controlling the climate to control natural disasters that they can pay to own the cities. Be careful, man."
Man, it just started snowing out of nowhere this morning, man. Y'all better pay attention to this climate control, man. This climate manipulation. And DC keep talking about we're a resilient city. And that's a model based off the Rothschilds controlling the climate to create natural disasters they can pay for it and own the cities, man. Be careful.
His post was in reference to internet conspiracy theories and speculations around the Resilient Cities initiatives of the Rockefeller Foundation, which was aimed at rewarding cities for addressing and tackling environmental concerns in their various communities. How did this particular theory came about? In 2011, a part of a wealthy Rothschild family purchased a major stake in Weather Central, weather forecast provider for hundreds of other providers. After the purchase, Sarah Evelyn de Rothschild said in a news release, "As the weather becomes more extreme around the planet, with greater human and financial ramifications, we believe Weather Central will play a major role in mitigating damage and improving lives." His statement soon became a significant news in broadcasting and meteorology circles as it became fact that the Rothschilds, a family with historical presence in the banking industry, wanted to acquire weather channels and expand their reach into media holdings. As it became news for media houses, it also became a piece of even better news for conspiracy theorists who saw an opportunity for a renowned Jewish family that made huge fortunes from its European banking endeavors in the 1700s to control the weather and make huge profits from natural disasters. The supposed weather control of the Rothschild family is a long-running conspiracy theory revealed by Trajan White's statement. After intense criticism and controversy, Trajan White Sr. later issued an apology and admitted his ignorance regarding the origin of his claims. He later worked with some organizations engaging in Jewish activism to learn more about anti-Semitism and its widespread. Well, while that did seem to work for a while, it didn't last long. His visit to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum later in April, which was probably an act of contrition, turned out to be catastrophic. The Post reported that White made several comments regarded as insensitive and left the museum before completing the tour, without any explanation of his departure. While White's anti-Semitic behavior towards the Rothschild family and ignorance of the Jewish suffering is highly condemnable, it simply proves the fact that the Rothschild family conspiracy theories have gotten out of hand since it was first released in Darren Vell's infamous pamphlet publication. While, not like Britannica's 11th edition editor, is part of a number of influential persons that have knowingly and unknowingly taken part in spreading these conspiracy theories about the Rothschild family. Though the anti-Semitic attacks have been constantly condemned, time and the actions of a number of persons have proven that it is embedded in the subconscious of Western culture, as the conspiracy theory of the Rothschild family controlling the weather is one of several dozens of bizarre, unproved and anti-Semitic allegations spread by people over the centuries. The general notion of these conspiracy theories that the Rothschild family has the power to control the world banking and financial system, the government and its rivals, and even orchestrate wars as they see fit or suit them, in itself is laughable without a doubt. The Rothschild family is indeed very wealthy, but in truth, they're not the richest, nor are they anywhere near the richest family in the world. To put it into retrospect, by 2019, only one member of the Rothschild family, Benjamin de Rothschild, made the Forbes billionaire list in the world. But guess where? He was ranked number 1,349, which is considered low for a family conspiracy theorist to claim control of the world's largest financial institutions. Prior to the ranking, the Rothschild Group had $500 million in annual revenue in 2015, a tiny figure compared to the $500 billion annual revenue from the supermarket chain giant Walmart, owned by a Christian family. Going by this fact, it is unreasonable to suggest that a family like the Rothschild had the power to control and decide critical and key events in the world banking sectors. Well, sadly, facts don't often matter to perpetrators of conspiracy theories. The simple conclusion that can once again be drawn from this comparison is that the Rothschild family are seen as part of a global cabal due to their Jewish origins. Aside from the Western world, there also exists different but perhaps more dangerous conspiracy theories of the Rothschild family in the Asian continent, and precisely Iran. During the 1960s, speeches of Ayatollah Khomeini sparked off claims against the Jews in Iran. In an article published in 2008 by Kayan the Lord Victor Rothschild, it claimed that Lord Victor's career trajectory showed an unbelievable role in the family's participation in Western intelligence services. And it wrote, Lord Victor Rothschild played a major role in supporting Mossad and its transformation into one of the most powerful spy agencies. At this time, a member of the Rothschild dynasty by the name of General Daniel Rothschild is at the helm of the Mossad. It was the Rothschilds who promoted Palestine as a promised land among the wealthy Jews and Jewish intellectuals, whereas at a time many Jews had no particular land in mind, and some were thinking about America or even Southern Africa. Eventually, it was the Rothschilds' financial support and political influence that the conspiracy was released and led to the establishment of Israel in the Middle East. Like many others who bear the Rothschild surname, Major General Danny Rothschild was not a direct descendant of the Mayer Amschel Rothschild banking family. He actually never served as a member of Mossad. However, he did serve in the Israeli Defense Force as an intelligence corps. At the start of 1990, he was the coordinator of government activities in the territories and was credited with playing a significant part in vital negotiations that resulted in peace agreements with the Palestinians before eventually retiring in 1995. On the other hand, Lord Victor Rothschild was a British scientist and an intelligence officer during the Second World War. He later became a senior executive with Royal Dutch Shell and N.M. Rothschild & Sons and an advisor to the Edward Heath and Margaret Thatcher government of the UK. His role in World War II as a member of the British counter-sabotage team resulted in these conspiracy theories. However, no credible evidence or fact that showed he was a member of the British Security Service M15 or any international intelligence agency after the war ended. The Rothschild family conspiracy theories in Iran also came in 2015 after the nation signed a nuclear agreement with the United States government. This time, the conspiracy theory was aimed at destroying the credibility of the Accord of Hassan Rouhani, Iranian president position in the deal. In what should have been a historic deal for both nations, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini circumvented by issuing a warning that the United States intended to take advantage of the deal and infiltrate Iran and Israel with its intelligent network of spies. Several media houses associated with Iran's intelligence and security agencies quickly released multiple articles about the infiltrators. News website Mashreg made several articles publications about foreign businessmen paying visits to Tehran during this period. One of the articles was about Norman Lamont, the United Kingdom's commercial representative to Tehran and also the chairman of the British-Iranian Chamber of Commerce. To paint Lamont as a hated person in British for his tenure as Chancellor of Exchequer, Mashreg wrote, Many analysts in the UK consider Lamont as an agent of the Rothschild family for destroying the British economy, so that this Masonic Zionist family can strengthen its grip on the financial arteries of this country. Of course, it appears that Lamont was paid well for carrying out this mission. Immediately after he was removed from office, he started working as a senior director for the Rothschild financial empire. The article further stated that Lamont began his business career in the mid-1980s as a banker for the Zionist financial empire of Rothschild & Sons. Responsible officials must explain to the public why and for what mission such an individual is in Iran. Somebody with such past whose ties with the Zionism through the Rothschild family cannot be denied. Despite these claims, Mashreg article did not state the name of the UK analyst who allegedly believed Lamont circumvented the British economy while he was the Chancellor. Lamont would understandably an obvious target for some reasons. First, he left his position as an early investment banker at N.M. Rothschild & Sons in 1972, when he became an MP. Secondly, he had a long record of often opposing sanctions and meddling in Iranian external affairs, saying in an interview, "The history of Iran has been interfered with by foreign countries in each phase." The conspiracy theory in Iran against Rothschild family have had very little or nothing to do with the family. However, like in the Western world, a significant part of the theories have been due to anti-Semitism aimed at revolutionary sentiment, advancing their personal career through false claims and undermining political opponents. The plethora of supposed atrocities and crimes spread by fringe political candidates, militant pastors, anti-Semitic groups, and unapproving individuals, including controlling the world's economy, sponsoring Adolf Hitler to commit crimes against humanity, plotting to assassinate Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, infiltrating Israel and Iran, funding Islamic nations, causing significant financial distress for Asians, and messing with the weather. All of these accusations, none have been factually proven to be true, and the Rothschild family has also dissociated itself from these claims, continuing with its legacy. If you enjoyed watching this video, do leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories and hidden secrets.